Welcome to Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. Today we're going to be talking about a wonderful artist, Jimmy Buffett, who we sadly lost last Friday, September 1st. Unfortunately, he died of skin cancer and he died way too young. Today on the show, I'm going to tell you a couple of facts about Jimmy Buffett and his life, and then I'm going to go over my top 10 songs honoring his life and honoring his memory through his wonderful music. And finally, we'll end the show with some Jimmy Buffett trivia. So, Parrot Heads, get your fins up. Let's talk about Jimmy Buffett. Some facts about Jimmy Buffett that you may or may not have known. Let's start with his early years. He originally attended Auburn University, which I didn't know he went to Auburn, and was in the Kappa Sigma fraternity. That's where he learned to play guitar. And part of the reason why he learned to play guitar is so he can impress the ladies. Well, he got really good at playing guitar and impressing the ladies that, unfortunately, he flunked out. He soon went to community college and eventually graduated from Southern Miss with a degree in history. He did develop a music career, and his first album was not a success. It only sold 324 copies. At the time, he was playing on the streets in New Orleans, but soon moved to Nashville, where his fortunes would change. He met Jerry Jeff Walker in Nashville, and Jerry Jeff brought him down to Florida and showed him Key West. While in Key West, Jimmy Buffett again restarted his music career, and he got a new label, ABC Dunhill, and they promoted him. One of the key things that I didn't know that happened during this time, Jim Croce had passed away in that airplane accident, so ABC Dunhill was looking for somebody to promote, and Jimmy Buffett was the beneficiary of that. They promoted Jimmy Buffett since Jim Croce passed away. I had no idea that happened. Jimmy went on to have a stellar career of over 30 albums with his tropical rock music. There's actually a new album that's coming out this year, which we'll talk a little bit about later on. He did market his brand really well. Margaritaville brand, casinos, hotels, restaurants, and he had a net worth when he died of over $1 billion, making him one of the wealthiest entertainers in the business. So Jimmy Buffett really made it big and really did a lot of great things. Some of the things that he did were some of his charities. Big thing was saving the manatees. The manatees were actually, you had boaters that were accidentally killing some of them in South Florida, and he made a concerted effort to put a stop to this and draw awareness to the manatee population. So a lot of great things that this man did. There are some funny stories about him, and one of them that I didn't know that I thought was really quite funny. Jimmy Buffett was involved in sports. His Land Shark Beer did sponsor the Miami Dolphins Stadium for a period of time. He did own a couple of minor league teams. But the funniest story that I read involving sports and Jimmy Buffett, which is just hilarious, he was at a Miami Heat game in the early aughts, and he cussed at a ref sitting in the front row, and the referee kicked him out. And at the time, the Heat coach was Pat Riley, and Pat Riley went to the referee and said, "Don't you know who you're kicking out? Don't you know who this is?" And the ref didn't know who Jimmy Buffett was. And the ref got testy with Pat Riley when Pat Riley said, Parrot Heads. Do you know Parrot Head? Are you a Parrot Head? So I thought that was one of the most hilarious things that I researched in finding about Jimmy Buffett, one of the funniest stories. Speaking of his final album is due out sometime at the end of this year. It may get pushed to next year with his passing. But last week on Saturday, September 2nd, in honor of his passing, they did release a new song from it, which I encourage you to look up. It's called Bubbles Up. It'll make your heart smile, but it'll also bring a little bit of a tear. It's one last message from Jimmy to us all. And one other thing that I found in my research in doing this, his last words were to his sister, and they couldn't be more fitting. He said, "Have fun." Let's get into my top 10 Jimmy Buffett songs, because after all, that's his legacy. So let me tell you just a little bit about my experience with Jimmy Buffett and how I came to be such a Jimmy Buffett fan. My mom had songs you know by heart on tape, and she let me borrow it. She let me listen to it, and I love every single song on that Greatest Hits album. That was my first exposure to Jimmy Buffett. And then through junior high, we had a couple lip sync contests where people would do some Jimmy Buffett songs that were really a lot of fun. And then in high school, I had a coach for history class, and it was Coach Green, and he was a Parrot Head to the core. He always played some Jimmy Buffett songs. He would sing some Jimmy Buffett songs in class. He was a funny, great guy, and he really loved Jimmy Buffett. And then in college, I had some fraternity brothers that would spend all summer long following his various tours around the country. So it was really a lot of fun getting exposed to him with different friends and different people. And then even getting out of college and actually going to a Jimmy Buffett concert, the experiences was phenomenal. Jimmy Buffett concerts were one unique thing. The people watching was impressive. The margarita machine was incredible. It usually was kind of in the middle of the concert. And Jimmy Buffett never failed to entertain. That's one thing that we are all going to miss about him. He was a great entertainer who always left you with a smile on your face, a great song to sing every time, and so many people sing along to all of his songs. And he always played his hits. He never failed to play his hit songs. So let's get into these top 10. Some of these songs are going to be common songs that you probably know. There might be a few in here that you don't know or are not familiar with. I hope you enjoy this. It'll be something interesting and fun, and I'll tell you the history of these songs and why I love them. Number 10 is Cheeseburger in Paradise. This song is just a fantastic song. It's a fun song. I love listening to it. It's one of the first songs that I got exposed to Jimmy Buffett on. It has an interesting story, and there are a couple of stories that I've heard about it. But the main take that I heard, and I got this off of one of Jimmy Buffett's albums, he said there was a mishap on a boat, and they were stranded for a few days, and all they had was canned food and peanut butter to eat off of. And they finally reached a port. There was a foreign port, but they went into the bar area, and on the menu at the bar, they had an American cheeseburger. And so that's where he got Cheeseburger in Paradise. Another story that I heard about this song was that in the 70s, they had a lot of fruit juice and tomato juice and kind of plain diets that he was on and that a lot of other people were on. And it just caused him to crave cheeseburgers and other things that were not necessarily good for you. So that's where some of this comes from. But Cheeseburger in Paradise, great song. Let's move on in the countdown. Number 9 is Jolly Man Sing. Jimmy actually wrote this song while watching dolphins on his boat and interacting with dolphins in the water. The story of the song is about a magic dolphin, and he and his daughter actually wrote a children's book, which is what you see pictured here, about the Jolly Man, and he released this song along with some other music for this book. This is just a wonderful, fun tale. It's about a guy who would sing through the islands, and he unfortunately gets attacked by pirates, and a dolphin comes and saves him. And it's just a fun, catchy tune. Let's move on. Number 8 is a hilarious story song called Gypsies in the Palace. I love this song. I think it's one of the funniest songs I've ever heard. It was written about a professional entertainer who hires people to house sit and what they do in his home. And Jimmy Buffett just relates it back to days of yore with knights and their castles, and then brings it home with what house guests might be doing at his home while he's away. The other funny part about this song is at the end on the album cut, Glenn Frey from the Eagles makes a guest appearance asking for advice on who to house sit for him. I encourage you to listen to this song. It's hilarious, especially if you can hear the live version. That's even funnier because he ad-libs a couple of different things. But this is just a funny, fun song that I hope you'll enjoy. Number 7 is Pascagoula Run. This song is about Jimmy Buffett's Uncle Billy, who had a huge influence on him in his formative years. Jimmy says that he went from choir boy to wild man just on a trip with his uncle. And the story goes that his uncle had showed up at their home in Alabama and asked Jimmy to drive him from Alabama to New Orleans, and they got into several misadventures on the way. Pascagoula is actually where Jimmy was born in Mississippi, and the town, actually, if you see in this picture, they named a bridge after Jimmy Buffett called Buffett Bridge. So very interesting fact. Great song. I love the chorus that goes, "It's time to see the world. It's time to kiss a girl," which means get out there, live life, experience life. And I love that message. It just fits Jimmy to a T, and that's what I love about this song. Number 6 is a classic, Son of a Sailor," which is a very true song to Jimmy. It's actually about his grandfather. His grandfather was actually a sailor. He ran a steamboat as a captain, and he was actually from Canada. He's from Newfoundland. His father was also a sailor being taught by his grandfather. And Jimmy really made this song as a tribute to his father and grandfather, his uncles, and other members of the family, and other people that taught him how to sail. Love this song. I think it's just a sweet song, and it's just a classic Jimmy Buffett song. Number 5. This is a song you may not know. This is as close to a sad song as Jimmy Buffett ever got in his career. It's called "If the Phone Doesn't Ring, It's Me." And in the early 80s, Jimmy and his wife separated. And this song was kind of a reach out to her to try and get her back, to try and reconcile. Fortunately, in 1991, they did reconcile, and they remained married up until his passing last week. I love this song because it's one of those songs that you can hear the heartache in it, and sometimes those sad songs just kind of get you right here. It's a great song. It's a very sweet song. I would encourage you to listen to it. It's just a wonderful tune by him. Number 4 is the classic, "He Went to Paris." Love this song. Very introspective. I love the message of this song, but this song has a very interesting story behind it. Apparently, Jimmy met a janitor with one arm named Eddie, who was also a painter by trade. Eddie actually fought in the Spanish Civil War, and so some of the aspects of this song were part of Eddie's story. The other interesting fact about this song that I found fascinating was that Jimmy really didn't play it live in his concerts until he found out that Bob Dylan enjoyed the song, and then it became a staple in his concerts. Give this one a listen. This one's a great one. Number 3, A Pirate Looks at 40. And as you can see, this is Jimmy Buffett's best-selling book, A Pirate Looks at 50, that he wrote as an introspective of his life. But A Pirate Looks at 40 was actually about a friend of his named Philip Clark, who is actually kind of a pirate who kind of lived from day to day off of different things. You never knew where he was or what he was doing till he passed away one day, and his ashes were collected, and they are still apparently at his urn is at the cash register of a bar in Key West, if you can believe that. It's interesting. I love this song. I think it's just a beautiful song. That's why it's my number 3 pick. Number 2 is the Parrot Head national anthem, the classic Margaritaville. This song is probably his most popular song, the one that just about everybody knows and associates him with. It's a song that he really did a great job of marketing and branding with different clothing, different foods, different restaurants and hotels. You got it all. But the interesting thing about this song is originally it was about a drink that he had in Austin, Texas, if you can believe that. So fascinating stuff. And it was he also dedicated to the Parrot Heads and the people of Key West. So number 2, Margaritaville, classic Jimmy Buffett. Before we get to my number 1 pick, here are a few runner-ups in no particular order. These are great songs. They just didn't quite make my top 10, but I love listening to all of them. Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes. What a great song. One Particular Harbor is a really good one. The classic that you can't play on the radio stations, Why Don't We Get Drunk, also known as a love song from a completely different point of view. Listen to the live version if you can of this song. It's hilarious. Some of the ad-libs and some of the things that he adds to this song are just out of this world hilarious. Last Mango in Paris is a great song. I love this song, but it didn't quite make my top 10. And Volcano is a very, very much a classic song. Very classic tropical song. And now, the number 1 Jimmy Buffett song on my list, the classic, the first hit song that he had, Come Monday. Love this song. It's such a beautiful song. Last weekend was actually Labor Day, so it really was fitting for that song. This song was about his then girlfriend who became his wife, and he wrote it about her when he would go away on trips and concert tours, and then he'd be longing to see her, and he missed her. He shot a video back in the 70s with his boat, his truck at the time, and his actual then girlfriend, wife. The video is really good, really sweet, very touching. I just love this tune. It's just a fantastic tune. I can listen to this anytime, all day. The guitar on it, the words, the timbre in his voice, the soulfulness of this song makes it just a beautiful, pretty song, and is my absolute favorite Jimmy Buffett song. All right, let's get into some trivia to end it. These should be fairly easy. There's one or two that may be a little bit tricky, but let's get it started. So the first question, what does Jimmy like on his cheeseburger? Hey, let's sing this answer. I like mine with lettuce and tomato, Heinz 57 and French fried potato, big kosher picker and a cold draft beer. Oh, good God Almighty, which way do I steer? Okay, maybe that wasn't as good a singing voice, but you get the picture. Question 2. What tattoo did the singer get in Margaritaville? And the answer, of course, is a Mexican cutie. Kind of leads credence to what we said about the song Margaritaville being a drink in Austin, Texas. Question 3. In what state did Jimmy Buffett grow up in? While a drunken state might be a fun, good answer, the answer is actually Alabama. Question 4. What was the man looking for in the song He Went to Paris? The answer, answers to questions that bothered him so. And our final trivia question today, who coined the phrase Parrot Heads referring to Jimmy Buffett fans? And the answer is actually Timothy B. Schmidt of the Eagles, who was actually in the Coral Reefer Band for a time. This was very interesting. I knew Jimmy Buffett had a lot of Eagles ties, and they actually played at his wedding, but I did not know that Timothy B. Schmidt came up with the term Parrot Heads. That's very fascinating. Jimmy Buffett actually inducted the Eagles into the Hall of Fame, and during some of their touring in the 70s, Jimmy Buffett actually opened up for them. So they were very tight, very close friends. Well, that does it for our segment on Jimmy Buffett. Please share any stories about Jimmy Buffett. Share his wonderful music, any songs that you like. Let's have a great discussion in the comments about that. Please, if you get a chance, click the like and subscribe. And as Jimmy said in his last words to us all, have fun.